Welcome to another fantastic Fiona Rose event. I can't tell you how excited we are for tonight. Why? Well, let's see. Because we have legendary, iconic, artisans, jewelers, real creatives in the house.
Thank you.
Sybil and David Yurman, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. We're here to celebrate your new book by Faden called Artists and Jewelers. So, as we like to say, give us a little bit of a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about tonight, but please don't give away too much.
I'm going to talk about him.
Yeah.
Talk about each other?
I'll talk about me too.
Okay.
When are we going to talk about you?
As soon as we
We'll make
start
sure
getting
we
there.
set some time.
I think for me, I want to be serious here,
Sure.
is that we're 55 years married.
Sure.
Most of the time we've done our own artwork, and more than most of our time we've done work together, which people know as David Yurman.
Right.
But it's always been David and Sybil, even when she wasn't involved and she was working on her paintings. And because I said, you like this? Is it too big? Do you think it's okay? And it's been that way forever. And she does more than say it's okay.
A true collaboration.
She designs, she creates, she manages, she keeps, I say she's the starter of the fires and the keeper of the flame.
I love it.
So
Wow.
that's really basically.
That is inspirational and something I hope to work towards with my wife. 55 years, you said, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, you just heard it. As we like to say, strap in, get ready for another fantastic Fiona Rose event. So let's get into tonight. Wow, it's a full house, and rightfully so, because we have an incredible conversation lined up. First, a little bit about the moderator tonight. Let me see. Deborah Frank. I think I met Deborah. Gosh, Deborah, I met you, almost 20 years ago when you were at Departures magazine.
Yes.
With Richard Story, who we all love and miss dearly. But a little bit about Deborah. She's going to be moderating the conversation. We're going to have a conversation, and then we'll open it up for questions. So during the chat, start thinking about the questions you want to ask. So Deborah is the editor-in-chief of Bal Harbour Media for Bal Harbour Shops. She oversees all aspects of the editorial process for Bal Harbour magazine and creates content for Bal Harbour Shops, newsletters, and digital and social channels. She also collaborates on brand partnerships, activations, and promotions as a member of the marketing team. She started her distinguished career in publishing as an award-winning luxury content creator, focusing on topics of interest to high net worth individuals, including having worked with, as I said, the one and only editor-in-chief Richard Story from Departures magazine as the vice president and executive managing editor. She also began her career at Hearst Corporation, working under legendary editor Glenda Bailey at Marie Claire. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Deborah Frank.
Thank you, Pablo. Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here tonight, and I had a chance to look through the book, and it is incredible, and I devoured it. And by the look of this room, it's sold out. Sybil and David Yurman really don't need any introduction, but if you'll indulge me for a second, I will read their bio. Born 2 months and a few miles apart in New York City, David and Sybil Yurman led parallel lives and independently discovered their passion for art in their youth. Their chance meeting in 1969 ignited a lifelong partnership, and over half a century later, their jewelry is now available at 51 retail stores throughout the United States, Canada, Hong Kong, and France, and at over 300 locations worldwide through authorized retailers. Fusing their creative talents into signature designs, they have revolutionized the American jewelry industry and ignited a lifelong partnership through art, innovation, and business. Today, with their son Evan, they continue to evolve the company through a shared vision. So please welcome Sybil and David Yurman. Hello. So good to see you again. So as I said, the book is incredible. And we wanted to start out by asking what inspired it.
You want to take that one? I don't know if we had inspiration. Did we have an inspiration?
Can you hear? Oh, that's very
The
loud,
banging.
isn't it? What inspired the book? We wanted to inspire people. We borrowed $500 to start this company with 2 co-signers, and we both had interest that we wanted to pursue, and we did. And David was sculpting, and I thought I had to wear one of these pieces of his sculptures, so he made me a piece of jewelry so I could take with me during the day. And it's like the American dream in a way. And I truly wanted people, our son and the people that work in our company, to understand what it was and how we came to do this with a passion and an interest and an inclination and very little experience except in our artistic inclinations. So that's why we...
Sybil usually does this to me. Could we get back to the book? That was the inspiration for moving forward, but we didn't want to do a book. We had been asked many times, why don't you do a book? I'll do a book for you, etc. And we were opening a store in Paris, which I consider ice to Eskimos. What are we doing here? They don't know us. They have enough. We're right across from Place Vendôme. But we opened this store, and it was a bit of vanity, and it was a bit of a little strategy, more vanity than strategy, to be accepted in the world of luxury. And we were accepted. And we had this party, and there was this tall guy, I think he was speaking French to someone that was working in our company. And they were ginning up something. I said, what are they doing over there? And it turned out that Terry's here. Terry, you have to stand up because your presence is so big. I mean, he is tall. And someone said, that's Terry Maximus Laurier. And there was just something about his nature. I go on looks and handshakes and senses about people. I said, I like that guy. I like him. He said, well, I think he's talking about doing a book for you guys. I said, where does that come from? He said, well, he's done one on Gautier, and I actually knew the book. And Terry Mugler was just being finished, and he did a book on an artist. I don't remember the name, but I like the artwork, and it was very interesting. Vassals, like these are not normal tabletop books. I don't know. Let's get a hamburger.
So you got that's how it started? You got a hamburger and just started talking.
Yeah. And he had really no plan except that he wanted it to, because he knew I made sculptures. Sybil was a painter for maybe 10, 12 years before we got more involved in the jewelry, and I also sculpted for an apprentice for Jacques Lipschitz and Theodore Rozek, and I had to learn the technique and I learned the discipline. And so he said, I'd like to do a book very simply. I want to talk about Sybil's paintings and your sculpture and what was the drive. I want to see that. That's what I want to see. And yeah, we'll put some of your jewelry in, but it's not really about your jewelry because you're established. It's interesting. there's Kate Moss and different stars, but it was really, he was interested in us as a story. And it's unusual that the painter and a sculptor, borrowing $500, would have a company that's worldwide, a nickel shy of $1 billion. And these are, ooh, someone said, wow, it is no different. It's a little more involved. We had to learn how to work with each other.
Well, that's what he used to look like.
Yeah, there we are. I used his signature, 1970, no, probably 1981, 82, the beginning of our cable bracelet, which is crazy because in 82 our son was born, and the first time we did our iconic cable bracelet, which actually I didn't want to make. She said we should do that. I said we should do mesh. I said we need a form. They gotta recognize it, and we'll do mesh. But what happened, fortunately, God, Mother Nature, sent 3 tornadoes within a hurricane to Rhode Island and knocked the top of the building down, a Fulford Moore building in Rhode Island, and had the machines to make mesh. So we went with cable. She was right. She and God were right.
Actually, that was one of my questions. You said
first.
cable is in our DNA and enduring form. So there's another story to that though, how it came about, isn't
How
there?
it came about.
The cable design.
Well, actually, David, there's a lot of stories how it came about, but David, when he makes those sculptures, he
This is
works with a
originals.
little thin rod, and he works only with a flame, and the heat of the flame and the force of the flame, he's able to direct it to make figures or do whatever he wants. Not these things, but the sculptures. And these rods are in a big column, in a casing, and they're wrapped, and they've always been there when he's working on them. And I think unconsciously it was an inclination and an inspiration, not for these were much later.
This is a sculpture of a
That's a
cable
sculptural
form.
cable.
But how did you know that it was what you wanted to be your signature?
I didn't.
No, we did not, it just was
we
what
did,
it was.
We did get advice
Wait, you
from,
had the first
from
bracelet
Peter.
on.
I do.
Where is it? Yeah.
We got advice from, this is called a trail bracelet, which was seen before. This is mechanically made because we couldn't make these all the time. It was too many and was too long and too involved. So I don't know how it evolved, but we had a, Peter Fabre was an advisor for many things, and he was an artist and a finance guy. He was kind of a Renaissance guy. He said, you must be known for something in the jewelry industry. If you can be in the jewelry...
David made so many
I
different
just made
designs.
everything. I made pearls.
He lived to design, and there were literally hundreds in every season.
Yeah, so that's the original. That's a drawing for the original piece, which is this wire bracelet, which is a soft helix wrapped, and it was. I didn't do this, but I mean, these are quick drawings that I did, and this is the cleanup of them. I don't render. I draw quickly just to get the idea, and I have 2 or 3 people that do rendering if we need a rendering, and I wanted a rendering on that because I felt it was. That's what we're going to focus on. We'll be the cable. I'm the cable guy.
This is from like 1980s. Mm-hmm. This is in 2014.
Well, so you are the OG of jewelry making because
That's
you actually
the OG.
What did you say?
OG. Sounds like the goat.
original gangster.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it said.
Really?
Original gangster?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm the
gee.
gangster. Our son was quoted recently in an article. And they said about your father and your mother and who does what. And he said, my father gets things done. He does the designing, but my mother, she's the gangster. I was very pleased because I come from the Bronx, so I thought that was just fabulous.
Well, you started selling pieces at the age of 16 in high school.
Yes.
And that is our son.
Yeah.
Now he's Yeah, that's Evan. And Evan is, I just wanted to say, Evan is the person who's totally responsible for the men's collection.
And and all the high jewelry.
That was actually, it's called the Vault Collection?
The Vault
Recently,
collection,
yeah.
that's the new,
Yeah.
that's even newer.
And I mean, Brad
That's
Pitt
all
was
men's garments.
right. I think you guys, like men's jewelry is trending now big time, but you were doing that
Oh,
years ago.
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
We're
Oh,
hoping
yeah,
to, he's
yeah.
helping to make a trend. So that's what he's been doing for the last.
That's what I do when
since
I
he's
want to do what I
16.
like to do. Be a cowboy.
That's
I
David.
have an
Okay,
alter
so
ego as a
this-
cowboy.
And you have a group that you go.
The Cosmic Cowboys, because we got together in the 70s and we were cosmic.
And you still do it, though.
Yeah, we
right?
do. Yeah, this is like, oh, we're showing a few. Ed's a diamond dealer. He's the head of a major organization, NHRA, Natural Reigning Horse. He's a lawyer, and he's having a good time.
But they go to Utah, Montana, and different places.
Wyoming mostly, yeah.
Wyoming, and ride. And,
Once a year.
oh, that, I didn't let that go up on the
Uh-oh.
billboard. That was the billboard.
That was a
because of
defining
the-
moment where we said, why don't we get Penn to shoot David, this David, and we'll use him like Ralph with the cowboy hat, you know, on his, out in the range.
That was a long time
And
ago.
we
That was
said,
1980.
nah, I don't think I want to do that. Nah, I get it. Peter Lingbergh, David Lipman, who's our creative agency, and we're working on a screen looking at what Peter Lindbergh's a brilliant, may rest with the angels, or wrestle with the angels probably.
Yeah, that was something I
Yeah,
had to.
it's Amber Valletta.
Just to give you, I know you have real questions, but it's kind of like interesting. We were doing a photo shoot in St. Bart's, and somehow the person that was handling the shoot forgot to bring food for, I'd say, 30 people. And everyone was starving. And I had someone run down the corner, the closest store, and get a couple dozen eggs, and I cooked them up, and she was sitting there actually eating that egg. And it was a real picture, very authentic.
This is Naomi Campbell. This is called layering, and we kind of invented layering, but it's not really an invention, but someone once said that. But it was the way we styled. So jewelry was not just da-da, wear it occasion, etc. It's part of your dress. It's every day, you know. So, and it was luxury. So it was a relaxed American luxury. And we know that the French and the Italians were not really happy about it, because someone said, I think you're eating their lunch. I said, I like prosciutto.
So these were all on the shoot, and these are like
Yeah.
real things that were happening.
I mean, a lot of it came from you, Sybil, when you were, the story about Peter Lindbergh coming by and seeing you coming out of the pool with all of your jewelry.
There was David Littman was the creative director, and we asked him would he consider doing the campaign for us, because we were just showing pictures of the bracelets, and he said he thought about it for about 5-6 months, and then he came out to East Hampton to tell us that he couldn't do it, that he really just didn't have an idea, and that what we were doing was just fine, and to stay with it. And when he came, I had just come out of the swimming pool, and I had my jewelry on that I always wore, and he said, oh, I know what to do, so I'm going to do it, so it's just natural. I just wrapped a sarong around me, and we lived in a Japanese house, and so it was all this ease and casualness, and he just brought it right into the campaign, and we maintained it. So, and we did things very different. That was our son, and I have that on. No, I don't. I took it off. Our son. No, I was saying. I forgot what I was saying.
You did things very differently, which is true. I mean, it was groundbreaking, that whole campaign. I mean,
It was black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, what
and it was a lot more money than we could afford. These guys, the photographer, they had 38 people to do the production. This series, it's a movie, and it's millions. And we didn't have it. I said, we got to do it. It's like, it'll be distinct.
We bankrolled the company on it. No bank ever,
No,
never lent us money.
there's something in the business called co-op advertising. If
Oh,
any of
right,
you
I
know
forgot
it.
about that.
So we give
But we bankrolled it to
like
do it.
5% to all the companies, stores we do business with,
But we-
and 3% goes to advertising. This goes to refurb, blah blah blah, the business of it. She wants me to stop, but I'm not. And so I said, well, I'm going to take the 3% back for advertising, and we're going to use it. And we showed them what we're going to do, and they went, "Wow, that's incredible! It's not going to be my dog with the the necklace around, and my sister's best friend. She'll be very disappointed." So we focused it. This is the only way you can do it. This is your ad, and they said yes.
Well, it was brilliant, and it had the right effect, right?
But we also did it our way, in as much as usually when you do a photo shoot, at the end you do a wrap if it's really great. And
wrap party.
Wrap party, but instead we did the wrap party before it started. So we did a party the night before, so that everybody was totally relaxed and at ease, and realized that it was a place to have fun and to be themselves and to be as natural as possible. And so everyone partied, and one of the people said to me, "Just order the lobster, the client is paying for it." So it was those kind of things that went on.
I do want to go back for a second to the name of the company, because there's a chapter, Making Changes, that begins with the James Joyce quote, "We spend our whole lives experiencing our safety instead of our feelings." And you are on the rise as a Sybil, as a successful painter. I mean, you were showing in galleries in New York and everywhere. Can you speak to the pivotal decision and the aha moment that you had when you decided to join David in the business and taking it off?
Do you guys really want to know about that?
I want to know.
It was, we were working together, we lived together, and I was painting, and the money from the paintings would go to help finance the business. And the moment was, I enjoyed doing it. I liked working together, and it was a place where I could play with color. And there was a defining moment where I just happened to be in the office, and my paintings were up, a few of them, and a good client came in, and she said, "A really nice painting. Who did that?" And I said, "I did." And she said, "Oh, is it for sale?" And I said, "Yeah, it could be. How much is it?" I told her. She said, "If I could wear it, I would buy it." So I thought, that's interesting. So I said, "Well, I'll make you something you could wear." So I used all the sensibility and colors and aesthetics that I put into the painting into some jewelry for her. And she bought everything for a lot more money than the painting was. So I learned something, and it was really interesting. I didn't have to deal with galleries and all the issues that were involved in dealing with a gallery. And I liked working with David. We had fun doing it. And it was
Fun? You call that fun?
Wait, there is a quote in the book that says, "The fight to get it right." Was that between the two of you?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, who won the bout? How many rounds
Who
did it
won?
go? Yeah.
You're really asking. So you can always tell.
been together for
you
55
can always tell
years,
what the
so-
sore spot is by what are your favorite sayings. And one of my favorite sayings is, "It's better to be." See, I'm going to say it wrong. It's better to be kind than right. Well, obviously, I think it's better to be right than kind. I'm right. This is my name. So you have to work through that, and we have our assistants here who see the fights and the sparks that happen. But we never go to bed angry, and we never leave the design table unresolved in some way. They say, "Let's do it tomorrow. It's too hot. Let's."
We really have designed everything in the company. And our son then came
With
in,
Evan as well.
and he designs now.
Would you say that that's a key component to the brand?
Absolutely. That we actually do. We're like chefs. We actually go in the kitchen, and we actually buy the produce and the stones, and
And you're actually in the kitchen. Actually, I think in the book it says something about you leave your sketchbook on the placemat, on Sybil's placemat, so that at night.
Well, I designed a breakfast table mostly.
And our son started designing that way, where he would come in the morning and see what David had drawn or I had drawn. When we would talk, we would draw, and we both draw all the time. And he would see the things, and then he would draw on top of it. Or he made a pair of cufflinks, and he asked if he could show it to me and Marcus when he was about 15. And so he did on a school holiday. And she said, oh, they're really nice. They kind of look like a baseball, though, because he did it cabled with a rim around, a gold rim. And he said, men, duh, baseball. And she, he then negotiated for his royalties on it. And when he was about graduating high school, he said, don't I have money coming to me? And we said, yeah. And he said, well, how much? And we said, we don't know. You have to figure that out. So he went and learned how to figure it out. And he bought half of his car, a trip to Europe, and a surfboard. So he got the bug, I think. That's what happened. But he's very creative.
And now the three of you work together and do.
Well, he's taking over. We're now involved in succession planning. So he's running the company basically, and we're doing different things in the company. I'm dealing with training and archives and all the archives of David's numerous sculptures, and turns out I have 1,400 or 1,500 paintings, and all the jewelry, thousands of pieces of jewelry we've archived, and all the lectures and talks and.
You rotate your paintings in the shops, right? Because I've seen. Are they for sale, or no?
They're going to be. They're going to be. Yes, they are. I had a show this summer for the first time in a long time, and sold a lot of pieces in the summer. So yes, they are for sale now.
When I was in the shop, Harvey, one of your sales associates, gave me this to wear for tonight, and he said it's because it's the three. It represents the three of you, the Trinity.
Yeah.
And that's part of the collection. And the Starburst, is there a story behind this collection?
There is. I don't know about the three thing. It's a nice story, but there is a real story behind that. That was Harvey's story. It's a good
Harvey's story.
It's a beautiful piece. It sparkles. No, that's Starburst.
Yes.
And when we were getting ready to show in Paris, we were showing we had a concession at Printemps, which is bigger than Macy's, next to another shop called Galerie Lafayette, which is bigger than Macy's. They do an enormous amount of business, and they show beautifully, and they're really hard to get in, especially if you're an American. So we were asked to come show and take a space, and did the business, and we had an opening, and we're in a Hotel Maurice, and we're looking at. I've only been in Paris maybe twice. I've only been to Europe like twice. And so it was very frightening. I don't know why I was afraid to go there. I had a phobia had dreams about being in a place that I couldn't speak and no one knew what I was talking about. It sounds like life. I talked to my analyst about it, but we're working on it. But she's looking at the Eiffel Tower, which you can see from the Maurice, and they're starbursts. I mean, there's fireworks. And I just said, we got to go. We're going to be late for our own opening. No. I said, oh my God, she's stuttering. I go to the window, there's a little teeny balcony, and she has tears. And I said, are you crying? You're not supposed to cry. We have an opening. Said, I don't know. The bagpipes and fireworks, it just make me cry. I just swell up. And so I said, I'll tell you what. I'll make you your own fireworks. You can wear them. We got to go now. Let's get out of here. She's always late.
That's a great story. I love that.
So
And
the
we
whole
did. We did
Starburst
make it.
collection really came out of that moment. It was a gift.
As a gift. Just like wasn't the cable originally a gift too? In the book it says something about that David had created it for you because you wanted to.
Well, actually, these pieces here, he would make big sculptures, and these were usually very large pieces, and that he would do. And I loved them, and I said, I'd love if you could make me a piece that I could wear during the day. And so that's basically what happened. He started making the jewelry for me to wear, and.
I think you mentioned too that you think the angel sculptures are more symbolic of the brand than the cable.
Yeah.
At some point, because of that's how you started, right? With all the.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much more. But I'm going to open it up to.
We actually made that booth. I mean, these are standard stanchions that you have at a trade show, and these are. You couldn't tell, but those are.
It became much more sophisticated when we were
Yeah, and then it
invited to
became
come
that.
to Basel, Switzerland.
Which
and
I said, you
the
know, if we could
Americans
move,
showing there.
we could move this to New York and put it up in Bedford, and we have a house. It cost $1.2 million to build this every time, and they take it down, and they put it away, and they build it again. It's nuts.
Did you get involved in the design of the stores as well?
Always,
Yeah,
yeah.
everything.
Everything.
And the whole
Yeah.
layout?
Yeah.
And the house and
And the
everything?
house, yeah. Yeah, it's good to be busy.
Is there
Yes,
anything else?
it is good.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask us before?
No, we're going to open it up.
We have a question in the back.
We have someone jumping out of their chair right here.
But we have a back question first. Good.
Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if this is on, but my voice is loud.
You're good.
Wondering if you were ever approached to sell a portion of your company and how you made the decision.
We just
to do
said
that or
no.
not to
We just
move
said no. We had no interest. We didn't want to work for the French. We didn't want to, be a part of Tiffany's organization. We just wanted to do it our way, is what it was. So it was never an option for us, and still isn't an option.
But I thought Kering was interesting.
But
Yeah, Selma Hayek and Pinot and French, and I liked them. I thought they made the best offer. I said, no, I'll
Do
pick
you
up.
really want to work for the
I said,
French?
I'll pick up the bill.
Wouldn't you rather work for me?
Here we
Thank
are.
you for your question.
Hi, my name is Nitin. I recently discovered your jewelry like a couple months ago.
Where have you been living? Oh, you haven't been in the U.S.
Well, I have a lot of gratitude towards Jewish people, and I was looking to wear the Star of David and the High Sign. And I saw somebody wear your jewelry and found your store in Coral Gables. I'm a recent transplant from Miami. And since then, I bought a lot of your pieces.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm drawn towards what you create in your art. I was in India 2 weeks ago, and I had a jeweler actually make some jewelry for me that I'm hanging on one of the necklaces, the Om sign with black diamonds.
Oh, fabulous.
And I'm curious if you have considered bringing some of the Indian art or Indian monikers into your jewelry.
Well, for me, it's one of the original cultures of jewelry, more so than French. French is modern. Indian it's deep and goes way, way back, and it's incredibly opulent. The Moguls really dressed up.
Yes.
Those guys they were wearing some beautiful pieces, and they loved the material. And I think it was more of a spiritual than a cultural. It was spiritually cultural.
Yes.
I'm moved by Indian jewelry.
So, no, we don't take something specific from another culture and repeat it. So if Evan makes, if Evan makes a claw, it's because it has a frame of reference, like I wear a claw, and it's part of the men's collection, but he made it originally for me because he said I was very fierce. And so all of these things that are made, they have symbolism to our frames of references or the people that we design them for. specifically. So,
Well, I'm wearing a lot of your stuff.
thank you.
You're wearing a lot of stuff.
I'm very drawn to it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Hi, I
And then can you
really,
stand up, please? Sorry.
I really love the story of how you met in 1969, and you've been working together ever since. And I was curious about the fact that you chose to call the company David Yurman.
It wasn't a choice.
Well,
It was just a matter of fact. But anyway, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe
I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. What's
Still
the...
a question. Because I only found out from the Rose event that there was a Sybil Yurman, and I'm very excited about that. And I just wondered how you came up with the name David Yurman and how you feel about that today.
Okay, well, thank you for the question. Okay, it used to be both of our names. First, it was David was making sculpture and making jewelry, and I joined him, and we worked together. And my name was on the company as well, and I was also showing at a gallery, and I had just sold a very large piece. The gallery did, and that very weekend there was a New York Times ad, and it said David and Sybil Yurman for jewelry, and they canceled the purchase of this large painting because they said obviously I was in between two worlds, and was this going to be an investment for them? I heard that, was mortified, and the dealer said I had to make a choice, so I took my name off the company, and that's what we did. And also I felt that promoting both of us would not be the way to go, and that David was someone that it was his art form from the get-go, and I was there to help support his visions, and then as my visions developed, we've always worked together, so it was an easy decision for me to do that. And then recently, when we were doing the book, David said, I think David and Terry.
It was Terry that said it. We couldn't. It was the hitchhiker and the runaway. I hitchhiked cross country maybe 8 or 9 times, and I took on the road seriously. And Sybil had gone across a whole bunch of times, but she ran away from home, didn't finish high school. I finished high school because I had to, and I got solid D. I just got out.
So it was kind of an easy for us, but we really have done the company together all these years.
Just over here.
Yeah.
Hey, Sybil, David, thank you so much. So cool to meet icons. So this funny story, fan, my husband's wedding ring is actually your creation. So it's tough to find something that he would like because he's not really a jewelry guy. So you guys did that for me.
But that is the tagline for our company. People would come in the very beginning and say, I don't really like jewelry. This is kind of nice. And Dave would say, I think we've got a strange market, maybe 1%. People that don't like jewelry. Where is this going to go, Sybil?
Yeah, I think it's a bigger market. My question for you is, you guys obviously started at such an interesting time in luxury and fashion and all of that. Today, there's so many brands out there, right? If you were starting over today, would you still do jewelry? Would you go a different direction?
We have no choice. It was his passion. It was my passion.
Yes.
From being a child, the only inclination, things I was interested in was drawing or jewelry. As a little girl, it was the only way to keep me quiet was to go through Grandma's jewelry box or whoever's jewelry box it was. So, and David always did sculpture and was always interested in jewelry. He would go to antique hunting with his mother on Saturdays for jewelry. So the idea behind the book was follow your inclination, follow your bliss, believe in it, believe in yourself. do everything you can to make it happen, you know, to do what we've done. We've literally worked, you know, 14, 16, 18 hours a day, and sometimes we worked until 2 and 3 in the morning with a limited staff to make things happen. So it's, yes, you can do it. And now we've just put together a grant for jewelers who have been in business for about 3 years or so, and are now starting to hit that wall where they're getting orders and they don't have enough money because they haven't been paid soon enough to fill their orders that they're getting. So David has put together a grant of $50,000 a year for someone who has a young company to help them facilitate and make it happen. So no, you can do it. I really believe you can. You can do it. You just have
So
to
you
know.
do it again. You do it all
Absolutely.
over again.
There's no question about
We're
it.
born, as my son said to a town hall meeting a while ago, he said, basically I was born in captivity. And so were we. It's our calling.
Hi, David. It's Sybil. My name is Scott, and
Oh, her name is Sky also.
Did you say
SK
no, Scott?
I think it's Sky.
No, Scott.
I
SKY.
my question with your son Evan, and actually what you said to the lady over here about her husband's wedding ring. But as a guy, you know, I like to wear a nice watch, but I have to say I've got many pieces of David Yurman, and it's the only jewelry I'll wear, and it's actually the only jewelry that one of my guy friends will wear. So what do you think that is?
I don't really know.
Well, first of all, it's made by two guys, Evan and Angelo, that have known each other for many years. They think the same. I'm wearing my wedding ring I designed, and I'm wearing a ring that Evan and Angelo designed. And Angelo wears probably 9 bracelets and 3 rings. He just always does.
And Evan, the thing is, Evan's a guy's guy. Evan has always been
They build
involved in
motorcycles.
motorcycles and cars and building, you know, 1950s cars and
Muscle
racing
cars.
them, muscle cars, and he's a guy's guy. He knows quality,
Yeah.
and he appreciates the beauty in the world, and he's extremely sensitive. So what he makes is what he loves, and he has an inclination for the other men like him. I know it's been publicized a lot, but like Brad Pitt, I don't know how many rings he has, and that's been at least 10, 15 years that he's been wearing them. So Evan's been doing this, as I said, since he's probably 15 or 16, and then pulling out for periods of time when he was really bad. And, but I survived. You know, and so that's Evan and David. And so, yeah.
He made that watch.
So he's done the watch. And
She
that's
made those
our shop.
earrings. And we have what I consider an ideal shop, which was in the back of my mind. I said, you know, if we could do everything in one place. So we still make everything in-house, first piece prototype design.
In New York City.
In New York.
Tribeca.
We have 35 master jewelers, really great jewelers, setters. We have 15, 20 design CAD assistants that do that CAD work and whatnot. We cast, we draw wire, there's nothing we can't make.
So, next question is from the online audience. When was that one defining moment in your career where you felt, I think we've made it?
I think it was last week.
That one turning point.
It was last week. You know, we truly always find it incredulous, and we're kind of amazed by it. We don't take anything for granted, really. We're always...
You know, I don't think we're the easiest people to work for. I do know that in the design, prototyping, product development, supply chain that we're very much involved in, we have the least turnover in our company. In New York, we have about 350 in headquarters. And that's who the jewelers are, and they don't leave. I want some of them to leave. But we're really makers, and we try to figure the business thing out, the scope out. Our son is the same, but he has a great business sense, and he's grown the business almost 30% in 3 years. It's huge. Huge. And in a year where, on average, luxury manufacturers were about 20% down, and we were 20% up. And he, God bless.
So it's very solid.
I have a question.
Hi, I'm right here. Oh, yeah, hi.
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
Hi. I just wanted to ask if you could talk about the creation of the book, how you decided what to put in the book, what stories to tell, what photos.
I was much taller and I didn't have white hair when we started. So that's first and foremost.
The crazy part is, first of all, I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. I said, we don't need this. And then all the things that were possible. And Terry was very convincing. But what was really crazy is that he really didn't have, that we could see, a plan. And we had some of our marketing people come up and say, okay, what's your plan? He said, well, we're going to write a book. And what's your timeline like? And what's your this? And what's your that? And Terry says, who are these people? And it is really the suits and the crazy creatives. And I said, I kind of want to know it also. I'm a little anxious, but I said, let's go on the trip. Let's just let it evolve.
So we locked the doors in the house. We got a lot of food.
Let it have a creative moment. This is something we've never done. I like the 2 books that he's done. He's also done shows. Maybe we'll do painting and sculpture show. And the shows are great. I mean, they're huge. The largest amount of people stuffed into museums and serious museums. And it's beyond my thinking that I would ever put my sculpture in, and et cetera, and move it in that direction. But I had to do a lot of taming of the animals to say, well, he doesn't have 7% of the budget, and we're approaching blah, 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 blah. I said, yep, and it's all good. We got it here. And he insisted, I had pictures of the sculptures and the jewelry. He said, no.
That's what David looked like when I met him.
That's Jacques Lipschitz. No, yeah. This is a great man. He was really kind of wonderful to work for.
That was David's mentor, and he was an apprentice with Jacques Lipschitz, the sculptor. And these were see that wire at the top? It's a real thin wire that he just keeps heating and pooling the metal to make these shapes and forms. Yeah. No, that's the good angel. There's a bad one also.
So there's something in the creative process that we really don't understand. But what we do understand, there's a joy in the process. And the key is joy. The key to work, and not being a drudge, is play. So we play around a lot. I mean, I'm joking all the time. I'm just a jokester. I like to keep it light. Because if you don't keep it light, you won't receive. The doors are closed. We're going to know how much is being paid. And I went to NYU for 1 year. I could do accounting. I know debits and credits. And, I look for that's a big number. What's that doing here? I look for exceptions. But working with Terry, and it can drive you crazy because you don't always feel strong about it. Because when you create, you're involved in ambivalence. You're not quite sure, should we do this, should we do that? And you have to live with that. And there was a sense of confidence working with Terry, sometimes not, but that's life. But basically, we said, we're going to get it done. And if Terry couldn't do something, or I couldn't do something, someone jumped in and said, well, I got it. I know what we have to do here. Let's do this first and then do that.
So it's the same
Let's try
way.
that.
It's the same way with the jewelry. So what you're asking, like with the men's jewelry, what makes it? I think it's authentic. It's what would we like? What would our son like to wear? Mm-hmm. What touches our sensibilities? So there's a thread that runs through everything that we do that's connected. I think that's probably it. I mean, think about it, we've been doing this for 50 years. So what we did in the beginning, those original that was the first necklace he made for me.
This is all direct welded.
Well, first those little tiny ones that I loved and I would wear. And then this was the one that I was wearing. We went to a gallery on a Saturday, and she said, "Where did you get that necklace?" And I said, "He made it." And she said, "Oh, could you make more?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "No." And
She took it off her neck and said, "Here." I said, "Whoa." Why would you do that?
By the time we got home to our place, she had sold 4 pieces. So that's what happened. And that was the beginning. And he was like, "Well, now what?" And it was like, "We're going to have to take that little room and put your welding in there, and I'll help." So that's what happened. And these are the buckles that David used to do that I absolutely loved.
I think we have time for one more question. I know don't shoot the messenger. My apologies. But we can continue this over cocktails, and if you want your book signed.
We have 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
They're very accurate here.
There you go, sir. On a deadline.
Hi, Sybil. This question is for you.
Okay.
I'm
Hi, Dawn.
wondering if you have a favorite piece
Oh.
of jewelry that you wear, and if you helped with the design, or did David give it to you?
Well, I always wear this. I usually wear this very often, and I'm not a big diamond girl, but because of the sentimentality behind it, and I like the fact that they're like wearing stars on my hand, so that's one of the pieces that I wear kind of quite a bit. And then David made this for me about, I don't know, 15 plus years ago, and I tend to wear that quite a bit. I wear the same jewelry a lot, yeah. I wear these pieces. I wear similar things. There's too many to choose from, so I try to keep it simple. What I'm going to wear, yeah.
I mean, it's only been 50 years of jewelry making, right? Just pick one, right?
I want to thank you both incredibly for your time.